Right beneath your feet, while you're grabbing coffee, walking to work, there's an entire civilization living in complete darkness. Thousands of people, generations of families, and they've built something down there that most surface dwellers couldn't survive a single night in. Beneath the Las Vegas Strip, where tourists blow their savings on blackjack, there's another city. About 1,000 people live in over 200 miles of flood control tunnels. They've built camps with furniture, bookshelves, even working televisions. Most gamblers walking overhead have no idea. New York has its own version. Throughout the 90s, the abandoned tunnels beneath Riverside Park housed hundreds of residents. The Freedom Tunnel got its name from graffiti artist Chris Pape, but it became famous for something else entirely. 50 to 100 people made their homes along an active Amtrak route, trains passing through their living rooms. That's commitment to affordable housing. Here's what surprised me. These aren't random sewers. Nobody's living in actual waste pipes. Tunnel residents specifically choose dry utility corridors, abandoned subway stations, and storm drains that only flood during serious rain. They're picky about real estate. Makes sense, right? The depth matters too. Most tunnel systems run 15 to 60 feet underground. At that level, temperatures stay between 50 and 70 degrees year-round. While surface temperatures in Vegas hit 115, tunnel dwellers enjoy natural air conditioning. During brutal winters, they skip the frostbite. Los Angeles has underground populations. So does Chicago, Washington, D.C., too. But here's the thing. Most cities refuse to officially acknowledge them. It's hard to count people who specifically chose to disappear. The tunnels offer something the streets never could. Stability, privacy, a door that locks, even if that door is a plywood sheet wedged between concrete walls. But why would anyone choose permanent darkness over a shelter bed? Turns out the answer reveals everything wrong with how we handle homelessness, and it's not what you'd expect. So why would anyone choose to live underground? Seems extreme, right? Here's the thing nobody talks about. Surface shelters come with rules, lots of them, curfews, mandatory sobriety. And the one that breaks people? You can't bring your partner, you can't bring your dog. For someone who's already lost everything, that pet might be the only family they have left. The tunnels don't care about any of that, but safety is the bigger issue. Roughly 40% of unsheltered homeless people have experienced serious violent crime while sleeping outside. Beatings, robberies, worse. Underground, you're hidden. You're forgotten, and weirdly, that makes you safer. Then there's the endless game of whack-a-mole with police. One Vegas resident explained he moved below after his surface camp got cleared 14 times in 1 year. 14! Every single time, authorities confiscated everything he owned. Tent, sleeping bag, photos of his kids, gone. After the 14th time, he just stopped playing that game. And here's what really surprised me. Some tunnel residents have jobs, actual jobs. They show up to work, clock in, do their shift, and commute home to a storm drain because rent costs more than they earn. Their coworkers have no idea. Think about that for a second. Someone could be making your coffee or stocking shelves, then walking underground at night because a studio apartment costs $2,000. The tunnels become a twisted solution to impossible math. Hide from violence. Keep your partner close. Stop losing everything you own. Maybe even save some money. Makes sense when you hear it that way. But choosing to go underground is one thing. Actually finding your way in, that's a whole different challenge. So you've decided the tunnels are your best option. Now what? You don't just wander into a storm drain and pick a spot. That's a great way to get yourself killed or beaten up by people who've been living there for years. Most newcomers get shown the way in by someone already living underground. And these aren't random charity tours. The person bringing you down is basically vouching for you. They're telling their neighbors, this one won't cause problems. If you do cause problems, that's on them too. Once you're in, the real challenge starts. Every decent spot is already claimed. The locations with proper drainage, good airflow, and multiple escape routes, those got taken years ago. Finding somewhere to set up camp can take weeks of crawling through dark passages, checking dead ends, and getting told to move along by people who got there first. Here's what nobody tells you about tunnel real estate. You don't set up within eyesight of someone else's camp. Period. It's like building a house 6 inches from your neighbor's bedroom window. Creepy and asking for conflict. The veterans down there become your professors. They teach you which sections turn into death traps when it rains. They show you which entrances the cops check and which ones stay clear. Some tunnel sections require crawling through spaces so tight you're basically a human worm for hundreds of feet. That's intentional. It filters out anyone who isn't truly desperate. Ignoring the old-timers' warnings about flooding, people have died doing exactly that. But finding a spot is just the beginning. Now you've got to turn a concrete tube into something livable. Now here's where things get interesting. These aren't just people sleeping in dirt. They're building actual homes down there. Residents drag in plywood, carpet scraps, old mattresses, donated furniture. We're talking walls, rooms. One Vegas tunnel home had a couch, coffee table, battery-powered TV, and a personal library of over 100 books. My apartment didn't look that organized in my 20s. Some camps include bookshelves with framed family photos, working fans, kitchen areas with everything in its place. One guy even had Christmas lights strung up, underground, in a flood tunnel. Festive. But here's the survival trick that separates veterans from newcomers. Elevation. Experienced residents build their sleeping platforms 2 to 3 feet off the ground. Why? So when flash floods come rushing through, the water passes underneath the bed instead of through it. That's not paranoia. That's hard-won knowledge from watching everything you own get swept away at least once. And the waterproofing game is serious. Every valuable goes into plastic bins. Important documents sealed in garbage bags, clothes stuffed into containers that can be grabbed in seconds, because when water comes, you've got maybe 5 to 10 minutes warning, sometimes less. The most established camps have been continuously occupied for over 15 years. 15 years of gradual improvements, adding shelves, upgrading mattresses, making it more livable piece by piece, just like any long-term homeowner would. Except the mortgage is survival and the HOA is hoping it doesn't rain. But building shelter is only half the battle. These underground residents still need to eat and drink every single day. And getting those basics, that requires a whole different kind of strategy. After dark. Why? Restaurant dumpsters. The food's freshest right after closing time, and fewer people are around to hassle you. It's not glamorous, but it works. Vegas casino buffets are basically underground meal tickets. These places throw out hundreds of pounds of untouched food every single night. We're talking prime rib, shrimp, pasta dishes that never touched a plate. Tunnel residents know exactly when each casino dumps their buffet line. They've got it timed down to the minute. Water's trickier. Public restrooms, park fountains, gas station sinks. You fill up jugs and haul them underground, making each trip count because nobody wants to climb back up more than necessary. Some residents store enough to last 3 or 4 days between runs. And here's what surprised me. Plenty of tunnel dwellers have food stamps. They shop at grocery stores like anyone else, grab perishables, and eat them fast before they spoil. Portable coolers help, but underground humidity works against you. Cooking underground requires serious skill. Camp stoves, canned fuel burners, small grills positioned near openings for ventilation. One wrong move with fire management and you've got a real problem. Oxygen gets thin in poorly ventilated sections. Experienced residents know exactly how much flame their space can handle. But it's not all scavenging solo. Churches and outreach groups have built relationships with specific tunnel communities over years. They actually deliver supplies directly to entrance points, like underground meal delivery, except the delivery address is a storm drain. Food and water keep you alive. But staying connected to the outside world, that requires something else entirely. Living underground means living in darkness, and darkness gets old fast. So how do people power actual lives down there? Here's where things get sketchy. Residents tap directly into electrical junction boxes using extension cords. Just splice in, hope you don't electrocute yourself, and suddenly you've got lights, phone chargers, maybe even a small fan. Is it dangerous? Absolutely. Does it work? Most of the time. But not everyone risks the electrical route. Candles and battery lanterns are still common, though experienced tunnel dwellers know something critical. Open flames eat oxygen. In poorly ventilated sections, that candle keeping you company could quietly suffocate you. Cozy, right? Car batteries become portable power stations. Scavenge one from a junkyard, charge it on the surface, and you've got weeks of juice for small devices. It's like camping, except the campground is 60 feet underground and smells like concrete. Now, here's something that surprised me. Many tunnel residents own smartphones. They charge them at libraries, McDonald's, or anywhere with an outlet during surface trips. Staying connected to family, checking weather forecasts, even applying for jobs, all happening from underground. And the weird part? Some tunnel sections near casino properties accidentally pick up Wi-Fi signals. Residents can scroll the internet from beneath the Las Vegas Strip. The irony writes itself. The constant darkness messes with your head, though. Without sunlight, circadian rhythms go haywire. Residents lose track of days. Sleep becomes random. Tuesday feels like Saturday, feels like nothing at all. Time stops meaning much when you can't see the sun. But power and light are just the basics. What really determines survival underground is who you're surrounded by. Every society needs some kind of order, even one built in storm drains. Tunnel communities aren't chaotic free-for-alls. They're surprisingly organized. Long-term residents become informal mayors. They don't get elected. They earn it through years of being fair, keeping peace, and knowing every inch of their territory. Disputes happen underground just like anywhere else. Someone's music too loud, camps too close together. Borrowed stuff never returned. The veteran residents step in, hear both sides, make a call. And here's the thing, people actually listen. Because getting exiled is worse than losing any argument. Steal from your neighbor, bring violence into a peaceful section, you're out. Collectively forced to leave. Your camp spot gets handed to someone new before you've even packed your stuff. But not all tunnel sections work the same way. Some areas develop reputations as family-friendly zones. No drugs allowed, neighbors actually looking out for each other. It's like a strict homeowners association, except the homes are made of plywood and the HOA fees are mutual survival. Then there are other sections. Everyone knows which ones. Heavy drug users congregate together, creating an underground geography based purely on lifestyle choices. You pick your neighborhood based on how you want to live. Couples are common down here. Some tunnel relationships have lasted over a decade. Partners share everything. Food runs, night watches, warning duties. It's romance without dinner reservations. Trust builds slowly, though. New residents spend months proving they're reliable before anyone includes them in food sharing or emergency warning systems. But this social structure faces its biggest test when someone gets hurt. And underground, help is very far away. Here's the thing about getting sick when you live underground. It's not just inconvenient, it can be a death sentence. Without an address, you can't receive mail. No mail means no health insurance cards, no appointment reminders, no prescription refills showing up. The entire healthcare system assumes you have a mailbox. Tunnel residents don't. Then there's the air itself. Imagine breathing in mold spores, concrete dust, and stagnant air every single day for years. Respiratory infections spread through tunnel communities like gossip at a family reunion, and they stick around just as long. But here's where it gets really dangerous. A twisted ankle on the surface, you hop to urgent care. Underground, that same injury can strand you for days, maybe weeks. Nobody's coming to check on you. You're just stuck. Overdoses are the silent killer down there. Someone goes down, and often nobody witnesses it. Even if a neighbor finds them, the time it takes to reach the surface, find help, and guide paramedics back through the tunnels, that window for survival slams shut fast. Rat bites are another nightmare. These aren't cute pet store rodents. We're talking sewer rats with bacteria colonies in their mouths. One bite needs antibiotics immediately. Without them, infections turn wounds into something genuinely horrifying within days. Some outreach nurses have basically become tunnel doctors. They climb down with medical bags, clean wounds, give vaccinations, hand out medications. Underground medicine practiced in conditions that would make any hospital inspector faint on the spot. Makes sense why health issues pile up, right? But surviving sickness is one thing. Surviving what nature throws at these tunnels is something else entirely. Las Vegas flood tunnels can go from bone dry to carrying 6 feet of rushing water in under 10 minutes. Not an hour, not 30 minutes, 10. During monsoon season, storms dump months of rain in a single afternoon. The desert can't absorb it. So all that water funnels straight into the tunnel system where people are sleeping. Flash floods have killed multiple tunnel residents. Some didn't hear warnings, some couldn't move fast enough, and some just had nowhere higher to go. Survivors describe something haunting. Before you see the flood, you hear it. A deep roar echoing through the concrete, getting louder every second. They say once you've heard that sound, it never leaves you. Here's what makes it worse. After major floods, outreach workers find camps scattered for miles, mattresses wedged against grates, books floating in drainage pools, personal photos stuck to walls half a mile from where they started. And sometimes they find bodies. Days later, experienced residents become amateur meteorologists. I'm serious. They track weather apps obsessively, watching radar like day traders watch stocks. First sign of storm clouds? They're out. They'll wait hours on the surface for an all clear before going back down. The Vegas tunnel system eventually drains into Lake Mead, which means floodwaters carry debris, belongings, and occasionally people directly into that reservoir. Park rangers have recovered items, and worse, that traveled underground for miles before reaching open water. But flooding isn't even the only danger down there. Police sweeps, forced evictions, and outreach workers trying to help create a complicated relationship between tunnel residents and everyone above ground. That tension, it shapes everything about underground life. Most cities technically call tunnel dwelling trespassing, but enforcement? That's a coin flip depending on which cop shows up. Some officers walk past tunnel entrances like they're invisible. Others organize full sweeps, clearing out everyone and everything. The difference often comes down to one individual's mood that day. Talk about job security, right? And here's the funny part. When authorities do clear a tunnel camp, residents usually return within days. Sometimes the same week. It's like trying to keep squirrels out of your attic. You can evict them, but they know the place better than you do. Organizations like the Shine a Light Foundation in Vegas have taken a different approach. They've spent decades building actual relationships with tunnel residents. No judgment, no ultimatums, just consistent presence. These outreach workers become the only connection between underground communities and the surface world. They're basically translators between two completely different realities. But not everyone wants their help. Some tunnel dwellers actively dodge outreach workers. They've heard the pitches before. Housing programs come with rules, curfews, sobriety requirements. After years of total freedom underground, those strings feel like chains. Then there's the practical nightmare: court dates, job interviews, medical appointments. How do you keep a schedule when you live somewhere without clocks, without calendars, without any reliable way to wake up at a specific time? A small percentage do make it out permanently. Patient outreach workers sometimes spend years building trust before someone finally accepts help. Years. But for most tunnel residents, the psychological toll of living in constant darkness creates challenges that go far deeper than housing applications. And those mental health impacts, they're darker than the tunnels themselves. Living underground doesn't just mess with your body, it rewires your brain. Here's something most people don't consider. Sunlight isn't just for warmth. It triggers serotonin production, the feel-good chemical. Take that away for months or years, depression rates among tunnel residents absolutely dwarf those of people sleeping on surface streets. And that's saying something, because surface homelessness is already brutal for mental health. But the isolation hits differently. Weeks can pass underground without a real conversation. Not small talk, not a nod. Actual human connection. I've gone maybe 3 days without talking to anyone and felt weird. These folks go 3 weeks. Then there's the hypervigilance. Every sound matters underground. Footsteps could be a friend or a threat or incoming water. Your brain stays locked in survival mode constantly. Researchers comparing tunnel dwellers to combat veterans found strikingly similar stress responses. Same chronic alertness, same inability to truly relax. And here's a twist nobody expects. Some long-term residents develop agoraphobia. After years in enclosed darkness, open sky actually triggers panic attacks. The very freedom they'd need to leave becomes terrifying. Substance use enters the picture as self-medication. Untreated anxiety, untreated trauma, untreated everything. The tunnels don't judge, so the cycle quietly continues. The strangest part? Interview researchers who've spent years documenting tunnel residents noticed something unsettling. Many long-term dwellers can't clearly recall events from years earlier. Without sunrise, sunset, seasons, or schedules, time literally blurs together. Memories stack on top of each other indistinguishably. So when someone's lived underground for a decade, getting out isn't just about finding an apartment. There's something deeper holding them there. Getting out sounds simple. Just leave. Walk up the ladder and rejoin society. But here's the problem. Leaving the tunnels means solving housing, income, identification, and often addiction all at the same time. That's like juggling chainsaws while riding a unicycle, blindfolded. And most tunnel residents didn't start underground. They had jobs, homes, families. Then something cracked. Medical bankruptcy, divorce, job loss during a recession. One bad year turned into 7. The average tunnel dweller has been homeless for over 7 years before they even move underground. 7 years. That's not a rough patch. That's a lifestyle your brain has completely rewired around. So when outreach workers show up offering an apartment, some people say no. Sounds crazy, right? But after years of surviving in darkness, the idea of rent payments, schedules, and rules feels more terrifying than staying put. The tunnels are predictable. The surface world isn't. What actually works is transitional housing, programs that let people readjust slowly over months. No sudden shock of normal life, just gradual steps back toward daylight. But here's what really gets me. Some tunnel residents have been offered housing multiple times and refused, not because they're broken, because they've built something down there. Community, friendship, a weird underground family they refuse to abandon. One guy told an outreach worker he'd rather die in the tunnels than leave his neighbor who couldn't walk well anymore. That's loyalty most surface people can't comprehend. So the tunnels keep their residents, not through locks or walls, through something harder to escape. A sense of belonging most of us take completely for granted.